During World War II, the neutral country of Switzerland underwent bombing and aerial combat events that became more frequent during the last years of the war. The Swiss Air Force was an autonomous military service which was created in October of 1936. It was an effective air force established at great cost. In large part, the governmental investment was used to acquire modern aircraft. The Swiss government attempted first to purchase British Spitfires along with a license to build them in Switzerland, but this transaction did not materialize. Instead, 90 state-of-the-art Messerschmitt Bf-109D and E fighters were acquired from Germany in 1938 for 36 million francs, the last of which were delivered in April of 1940, 8 months after the outbreak of World War II. During the war, a further 4 109s were acquired by the Swiss Air Force through internment. The Swiss Messerschmitts were painted with red and white striped neutrality markings around the fuselage and main wings to avoid confusion with the German 109s. It is interesting to note that in total 6,304 Allied aircraft violated Swiss airspace during the war. Some damaged Allied bombers returning from the raids over Italy and Germany would intentionally violate Swiss airspace, preferring internment by the Swiss to becoming prisoners of war. Over 100 Allied aircraft and their crews were interned in this manner. They were subsequently put up in various ski resorts that had been emptied from lack of tourists due to the war and held until the hostilities ended. Switzerland, surrounded by Axis-controlled territory, also suffered from Allied bombings during the war, most notably from the accidental bombing of Schaffhausen by the American aircraft on the 1st of April 1944. It was mistaken for Ludwigshafen am Rhein, a German town 284 kilometers away. 40 people were killed and over 50 buildings destroyed, among them a group of small factories producing anti-aircraft shells and ball bearings. The bombing limited much of the leniency of the Swiss had shown towards Allied airspace violations. Eventually, the problem became so bad that they declared a zero-tolerance policy for violation by either Axis or Allied aircraft and authorized attacks on American aircraft. Victims of these mistaken bombings were not limited to Swiss civilians, but included the often confused American air crews shot down by the Swiss fighters, as well as several Swiss fighters shot down by American airmen. In February of 1945, 18 civilians were killed by Allied bombs dropped over Stein am Rhein. But arguably the most notorious incident came on the 4th of March 1945, when Basel and Zurich were accidentally bombed by US aircraft. The attack on Basel's railway station led to the destruction of a passenger train, but no casualties were reported. A B-24 Liberator dropped its bomb load over Zurich, destroying 2 buildings and killing 5 civilians. The crew believed that they were attacking Freiburg in Germany. A US pilot later stated, "A pilot and a navigator, in choosing a target of opportunity, sometimes missed the marshalling yard they were aiming for, missed the city they were aiming for, and even missed the country they were aiming for." End quote. The Swiss, although somewhat skeptical, reacted by treating these violations of their neutrality as accidents. The United States was warned that single aircraft would be forced down and their crews would still be allowed to seek refuge, while bomber formations in violation of airspace would be intercepted. While American politicians and diplomats tried to minimize the political damage caused by these incidents, others took a more hostile view. Some senior commanders argued that as Switzerland was full of German sympathizers, it deserved to be bombed. General Henry H. Arnold, commanding general of the U.S. Army Air Forces, even suggested that it was the Germans themselves who were flying captured Allied planes over Switzerland in an attempt to gain a propaganda victory. From 1943 onwards, Switzerland stopped American and British aircraft, mainly bombers, overflying Switzerland on 9 occasions. 6 times by Swiss Air Force fighters and 9 times by flak. 36 Allied airmen were killed. On the 1st of October 1943, the first American bomber was shot down near Bad Ragaz, with only 3 men surviving. The officers were interned in Davos and the airmen in Adelboden. The representatives of the US military intelligence group based in Bern instructed the soldiers not to flee, but most of them thought it was only a diplomatic joke and gave no regard to this request. After the war, the United States government agreed to pay 62 million Swiss francs, equivalent to $220 million and current prices, to the Swiss government as full and final payment for damage to persons and property during World War II on the 21st of October 1949. The Swiss Messerschmitt 109s continued to serve for Switzerland until December of 1949. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and to make sure you don't miss my future work, please make sure you are subscribed to my channel and press the bell notification button. Thank you, and see you in the next video.